Tannic grips, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning, because it is morning. Britt and I are, or BT, as she's affectionately known in my world, we've decided to meet earlier today. Why? Just because. Why not?
The sun's out. Sun's out, guns out, wine's out.
Wine's out. It's time for some Tannic grips, and it's time for some Loire Valley wines, specifically featuring one of our favorite producers here in the shop, Domaine de Montrieux.
Yes.
Who's actually out of the center part of Loire. Center part? Central Loire.
Yeah.
Just north of Vouvray.
And then it's kind of like by the Loire tributary, like, or the river at Angers is what I want to say.
Yeah, there's a tributary of the Loire with an E river called the Loire without an E. And that's where she is located. The region is called Coteau du Vendomois, and you don't, or Vendomois, excuse me, and you don't see it that often because people are buying Vouvray and they're buying Sauvignon and they're buying Muscadet, and Cote de Vendomois is really kind of far north in the Loire Valley and not really too well known.
No, it's really not. But one thing that I think is really fun about this and this producer is the focus on the grape. I mean, it's a lot of like the classic Loire grapes, Franc, Gamay, and like Chenin, but then also Pineau de, which we've definitely talked about. It's definitely gained some popularity, but I think it kind of is like this little, I kind of think it's like one of the little secret sweethearts of the Loire Valley in general.
Yeah, and people that are into natural wine have been drinking, Pineau de Nuit for like a decade, right? Plus, but it's fairly new, kind of coming into the vernacular of like people that say, hey, they call Henry and Son, they go, can I get a cab? Can I get a Sauvignon Blanc? We have had a few. Can we get some,
I think we have some? Yeah, it's super fun. And it's a fun grape. And I think that like these two wines, like one's a blend and then one's Pineau de Nuit, 100%, I want to say mostly.
Yep.
Is that one? Yeah. And they're good celebrations for the grape.
They're super, they're really great. Yeah. Now, we were saying that this region isn't really too well known, but it actually, there's been references to wines being made up in this area since the 10th century. So it does have quite a long viticultural history, as well as obviously most of France. But don't cut it short because you have never heard of it. So like, give it a try because it's delicious. Should we jump right in?
Yeah, let's do it.
So these wines, they're all farmed organically and biodynamically. Ariane Lesnay, she got her start making wines and participating in harvest in Burgundy. And she, specifically in Nuit Saint-Georges, was her first start learning about biodynamics and organics. She moved to England to be a wine merchant, loved it. Moved back to Paris to say, now I want to work as an even bigger and better wine merchant. And really, that's when she sunk her teeth into a world of not only biodynamics, organics, but natural wine and wines made with less sulfur. And she really loved the grape Pineau de Nuit, which is why she started to settle in the Central Loire. And when this property became available, she was like,
I'll take it.
2015, first vintage. Let's do it. Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Her wines are super fun. And I think kind of just learning a little bit more about her history, especially like the impact that like her work in England had on her, like as becoming a wine merchant, and how that really kind of guided like her hand as a vintner, as well as like just thinking about the end product, but then also the influence that Burgundy had. It's like, if you like Burgundy and you're trying to kind of access more natural wines, this is a really cool producer to kind of look into.
Great point.
I think.
Great point.
She's she really loves Pinot Noir, but she loves Pineau de Nuit even more. Just like, it's kind of just, if you like Pinot Noir, I think it's a really fun grape to go into, as well. I think it's a fun region to go into, and I think these grapes are like really cool to kind of bring the natural wine world as well as Burgundy kind of together.
Yeah, they have a finesse about them. Like, I think that people that like the natural Loire Valley, a little bit of funk and the estuary quality and the bright fruit will love these. But also people that like elegant Pinot Noir will really like these as well, because they do have beautiful texture. We'll jump right in. One thing to note when we talk about, say, the Gargamel right here, or excuse me, the Gargamel here that we've got in our glass, when we say Gamay, we should specify there's a couple mutants of Gamay. One is called Gamay de Bouze, and it's actually a teinturier, which means when you cut it, splice it, it's got like really dark flesh. And then there's another Gamay called Gamay de Chardonnay. I needed to make sure I pronounced that right. And they're both, they both are what give this wine so much color. That's why I think it's bottled in a clear bottle, because you really want to see. I mean, it looks like really verging on like Malbec purple, which is really cool. And then there's also, of course, Pinot de Nuit, as Britt just mentioned. And there's also a little Cab Franc in this wine called Gargamel, which Gargamel, if any of you like poetry and like amazing literature, Rabelais, who is actually from Chinon, Francois Rabelais, wrote, I have to consult my notes, I don't even have it on there, Gargantua and Parenteau, Gargantua and Pantagruel. I think it's Gargantua and Pantagruel. Anyway, Gargamel is a very famous character, and that's what the heck Gargamel means, in case you're like, is that a grape?
It's kind of like the Falstaff of France a little bit. I don't know. I don't know. Let's get nerdy and lit about this.
Yes, let's. And this wine like commands being nerdy and lit. It's really fun. It's really funky. It's got a lot of like dark, funky berry
what I like
tones
about it is like it's got this. It's kind of like it's like the darker side of funk. I don't know.
Wow.
Like that's what I really like. It's got this ashiness to it.
Popcorn.
Popcorn.
This is how Britt and I are in the morning.
Oh yeah, it's got this like ashiness, like it's like super cool. I don't know. It's got like this firewood, like the embers and stuff. Like when you really like get a really good fire going. I don't know. I've been having lots of fires in this freezing cold weather, and
it's just Britt's shirt actually. Britt her shirt smells like fire. Just kidding. It totally doesn't. It totally doesn't.
It doesn't.
I totally know what you mean. I know what you mean, like very ashy. I get like a lot of blueberry.
It doesn't smell like it doesn't smell like processed charcoal, I guess is what I really want to avoid saying. I want like it smells like charred wood, and charred berries.
It's delicious. I love the blue fruits. I get a lot of like blue fruits. I get a little bit of like when you smell crocus, like how beautiful and how like they tend to be very aromatic. This is very aromatic in a floral way, a blue fruit way, ashy way, super cool. What do you think, what grape out of the four of these do you think you pick out most? And I will say that both Gamay clones add more color than they do and texture than they do aromatics. They're not terribly aromatic grapes like Gamay from Beaujolais is. So I guess out of Pinot de Nuit, which is like an aromatic fun varietal, and then you have the Cab Franc that's like that flinty, dried leaves kind of. What do you get more out of this?
I feel like I get a lot of the Pinot and the Cab Franc, like especially from like the flinty, savory sides. But there's a peppery note that I tend to find pretty distinctive in Pinot de Nuit, and that just might be the experience that I've had with the grape. And particularly with the other wine that we're not tasting today, but we're featuring as well as the Pineau. That one has always distinctively got a lot of amazing like black pepper, and really like cherry, like in cherry ice cream, where it's like that flavor of cherry is completely pulled back, but it just lingers in the background. And so I think for me, the black pepper really kind of shines through on both of these in a really like pleasant way. That it's still like there's still like lighter wines and still really fresh wines.
Yeah,
like
they
I think
definitely
black
are.
pepper, like people really want to go to like the Rhone or Australia, and those are both great. This isn't that. It's I haven't thought about that grape. Anyway, let's not. But
this is I should say, so the Pineau is 100% Pinot de Nuit. I think you said that before, and definitely aromatic. A little bit more kind of aromatic than this one that is, but it also is like a little bit and lifted, but it doesn't have that kind of structure and that dark color that this wine is. They're really fun to open side by side too, and they do last a few days open, which is really nice. She's making, obviously per Henry and Son norms, or at least what Britt and I like to focus on, all native yeast to ferment the wines, and she's using very low sulfur additions, in some cases no sulfur, unfiltered goes without saying, and they're just gorgeous depictions of a place in the Loire Valley that people should, I don't like to use the word should, but should drink of from more often than not.
One thing to note, another thing, I should say, not one thing, but They also, I think her wines, she tends to do a long maceration, which is adding to that color and that density, and like maintains the freshness. It also adds that structure. So and I think it makes it so it also, to some extent, I think it can hang out for a day or two, and it's totally delicious.
For sure. I think with this wine, it's about 10 days. I think if she did any more than that, it would be like too dark to handle probably. And then this is like 2-ish months. Yeah. So you get all that goodness of the Pinot de Nuit. You get all that like freshness and tannins and just delicious stuff.
Yeah, it's really great.
From our glass, cheers, Tannic Grips,
Cheers.
Domaine de Montrieux.
Oh, wait, quick Tannic Grip.
Oh, quick Tannic Grip. Three-ish?
Yeah.
I'm at a 3.
Yeah, I'm on a 3.
Like, we could get higher, but we don't need to. We could even 3.5-ish if we really just want to go there, but...
That's good. Remember, that's on a scale to barely recognizable to 7. Yes. It's there, but yeah. Anyways, well, cheers.
Enjoy, everyone.